words, this is many ways of looking at life. I've always looked at life this way. I've looked at life, there's the right way, the wrong way, and there's my way. Okay.
Okay.
Are you sure you're ready for this, man?
Oh, I'm so ready for
Huh?
it. Yeah. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. You're unbelievable.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Malmin.
Okay, you want to shut it off for a second and move the box or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, well, just say this off that.
Okay.
You want me to...
Okay, it's on. Okay, Uncle Dave, can you tell about growing up in Chicago?
Okay, I'd like to make a little comment here. I made a few notes so I can have this questions organized just a little bit better, so
Okay.
there'll be some help. Okay. I'm 55 years old. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois. My life in Chicago was very hard. I've had very little happiness. Most of my life has been a lot of work. Do you want me to look at you or into the camera?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, both.
In the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. My parents owned apartment buildings. I was a union janitor, the youngest union janitor in the history of the Chicago Janitors Union. I had a journeyman card at the age of 16 years old. I passed my low pressure boiler test. I worked, besides going to school and working the rest of my time, helping my parents do janitor work and remodeling. We tore down walls in apartment buildings and made small apartments out of large apartments. Most of my entire life was lots of work, and okay. Do you want me to go on to the next question? Or?
What are some of the events in your life that have had a big impression on you?
Always being told what to do by people that I felt that were not qualified to tell me what to do. As a result, I was in and out of possibly, maybe 10, 12 different schools in my life. And many of these schools I had been expelled from, usually for fighting with people. What else did you want to go into that?
Yeah. Some of the events like that made an impression on you, like being expelled from school and having your own businesses. Maybe you want to talk about that.
Okay.
Graduating and
Okay. I'm 55 years old now. I was born May 19th, 1936. I've been a loner most of my life. I choose to be a loner. I do not care very much for people. I got married when I was 18. I was divorced when I was 20. I was a bachelor for 20 years. I met a very nice girl that her name is Jeanette Malmin, Jeanette Morgan. She had 2 sons. Uh, we got married. It's she's been very good for me. She and my stepsons go out from time to time, and I go out very little because I choose to live this way. Okay, what else you want to know?
What person has had a big influence on you?
I'd say probably the person in my life who's had the strongest effect on me was, some over 30 years ago. I went to the Hypnotic Institute of the state of Illinois. Professor William Barron, who was world renowned in those days, who has wrote many books, television appearance. I studied hypnosis because I was very interested in the way a person thinks, the way they feel, and many parts of this. I graduated. I went to school for almost 2 years. This has been very helpful to me in my life. I've been in several accidents. I fell off a ladder like 15 years ago, and I tore up my back. I found out that the union here in Minneapolis, Local 386, Minneapolis Housing, which was funded by the federal government but is state-run. Employers of Wausau, of Indiana, of Wisconsin. I found out that none of these people care if you live or die. And as a result, I went out to auto junkyards and I worked for nothing, and trained myself to become a locksmith, to work on cars. And I had been a painter for 20 years. I had trained myself. I had done work for real estate companies. I had put in many hours working for practically nothing. I spent my money on buying different kinds of paints and brushes and rollers and things to learn a trade, teach myself a trade. And I was a painter for 20 years, which I always got lots of satisfaction of doing a job right. I always would step back, look at the room or look at the apartment and say, it looks good, and that made me feel good.
To do something right, to do a job right, yeah.
Also, in case you're interested, I took an aptitude and directional test in the state of Arizona 20 years ago, and I got a 99 out of a possible 100 for social work.
For social work?
So I guess it kind of runs in a family. Anyhow, and they actually called me up and asked me if I'd come down because they wanted to tell me what the results were. Okay, did you want to go on to something?
Okay, you can go kind of expound on this next question. It's about feelings, your feelings of life in general and other people in the world.
Okay. Okay, my feelings in general. Well, that could go on for probably about 20 years, 24 hours a day about my feelings, my ideas, my thoughts, and whatever. But trying to simplify this thing somewhat is that I believe that we live in a hypocritical world. I believe that our whole world I believe that our whole world is how much money do you have, how much education do you have, who do you know that can help you, or who do they know that you can help. Our world is, I think, a very sad place. I do not believe that people are honorable. I don't believe they tell the truth. I believe that they will hurt you every opportunity they get. I see this every day having my own business. People are, when they're little, they're vicious and cruel, and when they grow up, it doesn't go away. I believe that they remain vicious, they remain cruel. I would suppose the people that I fail to understand the most is the ones that I feel are the biggest hypocrites. They will go through life and they will put on a very good acting performance, that they really care about people and they're really happy to see people. They really want to spend time with people. And my experience is the majority of these people do these things just so they can get close enough to you to either use you or I don't know, I'm just not thinking that well tonight. People are very destructive, okay? Some of the notes that I made, to give you an idea what I think of people on this planet, is really, really bad. It's, you know, like some of the notes that I made is, some of the notes I made, such as, I believe that the people in this country that have everything are the rich, the educated, and the poor, the minority. Why I feel this is because the working man pays all the bills. The rich and the educated are in position to take what they want. A lawyer can charge $150, $200 an hour. Doctors can spend an hour in surgery and send you a bill for $1,000 or more. And the same applies to attorneys. The middle class people are the slaves. They pay all the bills. They make slaves out of themselves trying to have something to be able to survive. The way they're taxed, the way they're treated. There's many working class people in this country that cannot afford to go to the hospital. They cannot afford to go to the doctor. Me, myself, I'm 55 years old. I've been enslaved my entire life. If I was to have a heart attack at this very moment, I can't even afford to go to the doctor, because if I do, they will charge you thousands of dollars, put you all kinds of tests. And this is a burden on my family, because I do not have insurance, because of my age and because I'm overweight. I smoked heavy all my life. I quit smoking, which was the biggest mistake I ever made. And I put on 70 pounds. I weigh 270 pounds right now, and I'm 5'10". Now, because the working man is a slave in this country, many working men, such as my grandfather,
Mhm.
who turned his sons and daughters into slaves on a farm in Grovertown, Indiana, to crawl up and down the fields in the hot sun, picking onions and potatoes. My father, in turn, made a slave out of me. I was a slave. I took care of 6 apartment buildings. My sister could enjoy life. She went to many church and social events, and I was a slave morning, noon, and night, and that was 7 days a week. My parents felt that they would keep me under control by telling me one day that this property would be mine. I always felt, that that would not be true. For some reason, I always felt that for some reason, somewhere down the line, that I would die or something unusual would happen, and I'd never see any of this. Well, as a result, it came true, even though I had been a slave for 27 years of my life. And I'm not talking about my little, up until I was about 7 or 8 years old, before I started working. I'm talking about actual working 27 years of my life for my family for nothing. And if you don't call that slavery,
Mhm.
I don't know what you'd call it. I'm very opposed to many things in life. I'm opposed to Southern people that don't like Northern people because of the Civil War. I got news for these people. My grandparents weren't even in this country when this was happening. My grandparents never had any slaves. My parents never had any slaves, except if you want to call me a slave. And as a result, the black people, they don't like Northern people. A lot of black people come up to Minnesota, up to Chicago. They take kindness for weakness. I heard just the other day that it was on a talk show on TV. They said that white people are responsible for killing 90 million black people. And if they were to kill every white person for what white people had done to them, that there wouldn't be any white people left. And it's this kind of talk and this kind of understanding that brings real love and communication between the races. I got news for you black people. My grandparents weren't in this country. It's no cop-out. It's the truth. And yet you hate all white people in this country when many of these people, their ancestors were never in this country? If you do, there's something wrong with you. Talk about white people in this country. They go out to the suburbs to avoid drugs and so their children have a chance to live better in life. As a result, they punish themselves by driving an hour, 2 hours on each way to and from work every day, just so they don't have to live in an environment. We've got a government that is controlled by politicians. There's an old saying, as long as you have professional politicians and amateur voters, you will always have it your way, regardless if you're a Democrat or Republican. The party controls these people. These people are the ones who make policy, what is going to happen in this country, the future of this country, your people, your children, your relatives. They talk about everything. Water pollution, air pollution, destroying the ozone. They know what's going on. They may use it for a political speech. There's lots of things I'm unhappy about. You really want to know probably what makes me the most unhappy?
What's that?
Is to know that there are 40,000 children a day that are dying on this planet.
Starvation.
That are dying from starvation or starvation-related diseases. But yet we'll spend money to go to the moon.
Yeah.
And we'll spend money to drop bombs
Right.
over in another part of the world. And, you know, we, United States, you know, we don't care, you know. I would say probably the most intelligent human being that I would say probably, well, my family, I consider my wife Jeanette, my stepsons, Alan Morgan and Robert Morgan, I consider them all very extremely intelligent people. Alan said to me the other day, I says, you know, Alan, this hypocritical world that we live in, everything is controlled by psychology. You don't have to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist to know how to manipulate people. Everything in this world is controlled by, you know, who's got the most money, who's got the most education, who's got the most gold, who do you work for, who do you have to listen to, who do you take orders from. All these things, that all this control that is going on, okay, is it's just out of control. As the old saying goes, there's too many chiefs and not enough Indian. Everybody wants to be boss. Everybody wants to write a book. Everyone feels that they know all the answers. And nobody wants to work together. So as a result, because of this, I have become, I would possibly say if I had my life to live over again, I very possibly would have become a hermit. I have very little use for people. Because most people, they, you know, they promise and they don't deliver. They say one thing and they do something else. People cannot be trusted. They cannot be depended upon. I have no idea. I truly believe that man is so ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
I believe man is so easily led that if it had not been for a few people throughout history, man probably wouldn't have survived. He wouldn't have existed. There's a lot of people that are quick to adapt, they're quick to copy what someone else is doing or whatever, but very few realistic people in this world.
Who do you think though, like what people do you think made that impact in the world? World leaders or?
World leaders?
Uh-huh.
Well, what type of world leaders do you feel that has made big impacts on what people, country, environment?
And why life has been shaped like it has? Who's like been the big important people in history?
Oh, well, what you're looking at is, you know, if you want to go all the way back, probably some of the most intelligent people in this world have been the Egyptians, the Chinese, many different things that have been brought, you know, to the so-called civilized world, regardless if it's to make things a so-called better way of life, if it's no matter if it's electricity or plumbing or
Yeah. The Chinese have done a lot.
Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell. I mean, there's been many people throughout history, but in comparison to the billions that there are on this planet, it's like a handful
Yeah.
of people that really have done something. You know, really. Talking about something, okay. I feel that if there is 10 men that have lived in this century that could be referred to as great inventors, I do not believe that inventing has very much to do with IQ or even mechanical or electrical or chemical knowledge. I believe that inventing comes to people, that some people actually have the gift for it.
Mm-hmm.
I started inventing when I was 7 years old. I've invented thousands of things. Thousands. My sister said to me one time that to be able to have the gift to invent is something from God. I do not believe this. I believe that to have the gift to create and invent, design, put together a better way of life for man in this day and age, I feel is a curse. Of all the things I've invented, I've lived with the hopes and the dreams that somewhere in this world in my lifetime I would meet someone that has money, someone that has the imagination to know that this is a good idea. Let's put this on the market. Okay. The Japanese government helps the inventor to take a product, manufacture this product, do research on it, manufacture it, put it on the market. The government helps people. This is an idea I had 30 years ago. How great it would be to have an organization that really cared about one another. But the laws in this country, our country does not care about its people. And if anyone says it does, this person does not know what they're talking about. They'll teach constitutional law to law students. And the constitutional law does not exist unless you've got money to make it exist. Otherwise, you're going to be treated like you're just a non-existent human being. And this applies to everything. Exactly what is happening. Now, a minute ago, what was I just saying before I went into the...
About,
just a minute ago, before I started talking about the law and the Constitution and it not meaning anything. What was that?
Yeah, the Japanese government.
Okay. Active January 1st of 1980, according to the United States Department of Commerce, which is an agency of the United States Patent Office. A new patent treaty went into effect with the free world, which is 96 countries. The patent law now says that you as an inventor have got to apply for and receive full patent protection in each of the 96 countries. You know, who is bullshitting who? Well, let's face it. Why continue to go through life being hypocrites? Why going through life telling people that they have a chance in life? The rich people, the inventors, don't get nothing. Very seldom do you get anything. And
The
they're the
inventors?
genius, the inventors.
Right,
Most
okay.
of the time, some big corporation will come along, get it for nothing if they don't get it. You know, if they got people in the patent offices.
Mhm.
One guy invented the weed whacker
Yeah.
before he could get it on the market. Everybody had it. Sears, Lawn Boy, Toro, they all had it. He had a patent on it. Took it to
How'd
court.
that? Uh-huh.
Spent 5 years in federal court. It cost him $1 million. And he lost. One of the patent judges allowed himself to be interviewed. He came out and says, we as patent judges feel no patent should ever be issued to anyone where an idea could be obvious to someone else. How much hypocritical garbage. People talk about all kinds of stuff. They talk about, you know, how come the Japanese are doing better than we are? In a way they are, regardless what people want to think. That's because they are raised differently. They were raised that if you don't study and you don't work hard, you're not going to survive. They're not doing these things because they want to. They're raised with the true reality they're not going to survive. And as a result, they are sent to school and they look at their studying and their life completely different. American students, they don't have no creative teaching. You don't have teachers that are telling people that if you study math, you'll be able to add up all the money you're going to make one day. If you learn to read and spell, that you'll be able to understand any legal contracts that you may ever sign.
Mhm.
You may understand your rights as a citizen, regardless what area of rights these are. You'll be able to read and comprehend what they are trying to teach you much easier. I'm actually very, when I went to school in Chicago, teachers didn't care if you learned to read or write. I thought things were going to change. Minnesota's no different. These years are no different. I would take probably about 95% of the students in the state of Minnesota and I'd send them back to grade school. It's sad, but it's true.
Mhm.
These people can't spell. They can't read. And I really think that if a lot of them didn't have common sense, I'd have some type of common sense, I think they'd have trouble surviving too. I think our country believes that if a person goes to school and they receive a degree, that degree is supposed to tell the world that they are someone, they are something. And this is another false, unbelievable, just because a person may be good at reading and writing doesn't mean he's going to be good with his hands or that he's coordinated. And all these things that happen. And it is so sad because so much of their time that they are going to school is wasted. And many people in this country, regardless what the world wants to believe, are not happy people. They work, they're slaves, they have practically no social life. This does affect their communication. This affects their outlook on life, their self-esteem. In some ways, I have not been fair with my two stepsons, Robert and Alan Morgan. They have not received the social things in life that they should have received. Hopefully they'll be able to receive these later in life. But as far as training them to be men, surviving in an adult world, learning how to communicate with people, learning how to sell a product, their service, learning how to do the job to the best of their ability, learning to be fair with people. You have to charge a decent price to be able to survive and pay your bills. But there's a difference between doing it for nothing and robbing people.
Yeah.
The different outlooks on life. My son feels that it bothers him when we go out to a person's house and make keys for their car, and a person comes out and pays for it in nickels, dimes, and quarters. You know they've robbed their kid's piggy bank because they had nothing else. And it bothers them. So I know that when something like this bothers them, in other words, they're not the run of the mill, cold-blooded, calculating person. People, I suppose why I don't like people, and I really don't like people, I suppose is because people are so extremely deceitful. They will act like they're your friend. They care about you. And it's true. When they're within the same room or the same work area or whatever, everything's great. And the work area or the birthday party or whatever is over with, you no longer associate with this person. People are great actors. Oh, how are you? To me, they're phonies. Sit at a table, why, this is the best meal I ever had in my life. Now, we know who we're talking about on that one, don't we, Maddie?
Yep.
You know, to be realistic and honest, I believe there's two ways. No, there's not two ways. There's 1,000 different ways of being able to communicate with people. It all depends on what you want. I've always looked at life, I would say, a lot different than most. As I grew up, people would say, if you ride a horse and the horse throws you, you're supposed to get back on that horse and ride that horse. Well, I was about 11 years old and I had a horse throw me into a wooden fence. And I probably had trouble breathing for about 5 minutes. And I had so many aches and pains that I could hardly move. And yet, you're supposed to be manly and get back up on that horse? I think that's a lot of garbage. I think you gotta think what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get up on that horse and have that horse kill you?
Yeah.
Do you want to get on that horse and you kill that horse? Do you want to hurt that horse? Do you want that horse to hurt you or kill you? Or is your object to ride this horse? And this is the problem with our life. You are given yes or no answers. You're not given a multiple choice. You are not given room to really think. You're told how you're supposed to think. In this class that Maddie's going to, on psychology, they want to categorize everybody. They want to put a label on them. Now, you
That
know,
brings us to our next question,
okay,
and that's what do you think about psychology?
psychology. Well, it's like religion. It's like lots of things in the world. It's like the police department. It is what I consider a necessary evil. Why consider it a necessary evil? Because everything in life, no matter what it is, if it's the sun that is helping your crops to grow, or it's warming the environment, or if it's burning the flesh off you until you blister and die from too much sun, okay? Every single thing in life has got good and bad. In other words, a book of matches can burn your house down and kill you, your family, your animals. At the same time, it can warm the house. It can cook your meals. It can depend. Every single thing in life, there is a negative and a positive. And it all depends on what a person wants. I think psychology, I think they go way far out of bounds, because I feel that they feel they got everything categorized, and they feel they understand what they're doing. And I think that's very sad. I think it's very destructive, very uncreative. I believe you're a creature of your environment. If you're swimming in the ocean and a shark comes by and bites your leg off, you're supposed to want to spend the rest of your life hunting and killing sharks. This is crazy. You're in his environment. If you're down in Skid Row and you're living you're in a bad area, and somebody should stab you and rob you or knock you in the head or something, and you're supposed to say, "Hey, I hate all criminals." This is crazy, because you're in their environment. You placed yourself in this position. I feel that if you lived in New Guinea and your parents were cannibals, and your brother and sister and your Uncle David, we all were cannibals. Okay? This would be normal.
Yeah.
Because this is the environment we live in. This is what you are raised to believe is good. This is normal. It's natural. And where psychology goes wrong is they try to labelize everybody, and they don't have time to spend that much time with all these different individuals and say, well, this person, these are the reasons this person has acted this way. They turn around, something they're just talking about, this guy down in Milwaukee, Dahmer, okay? Psychologists, psychiatrists, I mean, to me, these people, they are representing the courts, they're representing all these type of things, turning in their knowledge of how the mind is supposed to work.
Yeah.
And they're trying to say, if a person, the law is supposed to read, if a person was insane, okay, at the moment of doing this crime, if there's any doubt. But they don't present this honestly and truthfully. Because if there was, there's many people in mental institutions, jails, prisons throughout the world, okay, I probably wouldn't be there. Okay? In other words, what you're looking at is if all these genius professors of psychology and psychiatry would really do some serious thinking, and they would not keep running a line of bullshit on themselves and everybody else, and they would truly look at something And they would look at it in such a way, okay, that a person is constantly dwelling on a problem. A person is jealous. They're in love with someone that is making them jealous. Maybe someone in the past has made them jealous. They feel insecure, inadequate. Maybe they can't tell the jokes. They're not a good dancer. They're not, they don't enjoy socializing with this other type of person in such a way, and this other person that they happen to care about does. So this brings about any kind of emotional problem, okay? Any kind, okay?
Okay.
They're jealous. We just use jealousy for one, all right?
Okay.
And if these,
Yeah, that's good.
okay, you turn the tape over?
It's gone. It's on.
Okay. Now, if these professors would look at things, like I say, realistically, and they would realize when a person, and they know it, they're not, to me, they're also hypocrites. They are bullshitting the world.
Mm-hmm.
They're not telling the truth. They're not telling the truth. This person is, where do you draw that line of sanity and insanity?
Yeah.
When you are under so much emotional stress that you are actually have, through constant repetition, you have put yourself into a hypnotic state that you do not understand, and you do not know how to control it, and you do not know how to guide it and have it work for you, and it's working against you because you have no control over it.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to teach you control of it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now this emotional state, if you really want to be honest about it, could be considered the state of insanity. This person killed his girlfriend, this person killed his best friend, this person stabbed this person did this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
He was out of control. Now we come along with all this other crap, and the law says, well, did this person, were they insane at the moment? I mean, what kind of crap are they running on people? Where's the justice? They're out of control, and you're going to tell me that somebody that is out of control is sane? So, who's the one who decided to draw up all this different information and say who's sane and who isn't insane and all this kind of stuff, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, I also believe that Freud was very disturbed. I believe he was a pervert. I believe what they teach in universities about fraudulent, everybody wants to have sex with everybody. I believe the man is really, I have no idea why they waste their time with this moron, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Man's true motivation in life is the motivation of domination. People join the army, they want to dominate. They want to join the police department, they want to dominate. They want to have children, sometimes, to dominate. They want to have dogs, to order them around, do what they're told, sit down, roll over, beg, jump. They want to dominate. Man goes through many different stages in his life. And the area is not in sex. The area is in domination, in controlling other human beings, no matter if it's with money, it's education, it's physical strength, it's knowledge that the other person does not know or is not familiar about, but you have some insight into. The area of domination, the area of man's wanting to know the truth about everything he deals with. And what is the world doing? They're filling up his mind, they're wasting his time, giving him all this garbage. They teach in school, well, here is your choice. Here's your test and questions. This is your test. And I gave you 3 different questions. Which one is the right answer? I got a 1 1/3 chance of just scratching off one of them. Does that mean I've learned anything?
Yeah.
Do you know how your answer examination should be?
Essay.
No. What year did Christopher Columbus discover America? 1492. That's not only your answer, it's the question also, and it's the right answer. Why are you wasting people's minds with all this rid-rack garbage? Why try to confuse them? Teach them the question and the answer at the same time. Then you're teaching. John, do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah. That is really good.
There are so... okay.
Yeah, I think, okay, do you want to talk about spiritual?
Spiritual?
Did you make notes on that?
No, I think I made a note on it. I kind of got off into another part to see. Let's see. I was talking about middle-class people. They can't afford to go to doctors, and you know, all the poverty. We got people on the streets in this country, and yet we're the phonies. We're the phonies of the universe. The American people, the American government. We are phony. We want the world to believe we're rich.
Yeah.
We're wonderful. Let's keep passing out big money all over the world, and we're depriving our own people. We're depriving them. I don't see them spending big money on solving things that are killing people. They're killing babies and innocent people all over the world. I don't see them spending millions and billions of dollars on AIDS. I don't see them doing more and more cancer research. Do you know how cancer research is done in this country?
Oh.
Very interesting. You probably got 100 different institutions, and they're doing the same research over and over and again. Do you know why? Because everyone wants the glory and the fortune that's going to come with the discovery. So all these people are bullshitting the world. They don't care about man. They just care about what's in it for them. These people aren't creative. They're destructive. They're phony. And this is the way, this is the way many things in this world are, Maddie. If a person likes it, they don't like it. All my life, from time to time I get a little excited, a little emotional and stuff like that, but I look at life, many things in this world, there's very little I can do about. And that bothers me. It bothers me that I didn't have a good education. It bothers me that our country is doing a poor job of educating people. We are now number 17 in the world in educating our own children. We live in an apathetic society. They see people on welfare. They don't have to work. They go out sipping a bottle of beer, getting their wife and their picnic basket and their kids, and they're going out in the summertime out to a lake fishing or swimming. And they're sucking on a welfare check. And the other man's beating his brains out, working his butt off. This is something else within the area of psychology. It's, you know, I believe that our government, I believe in our form of government is very bad. It's very destructive. It's capitalistic government, which everything is supposed to motivate around money and everything. I think it's bad. I think many children ought to be taken away from their parents. You call it anything you want. Socialism, communism, fascism, you know, any name you want to put on it. But there is no such thing as anything in its true self. Capitalism, if Jesus Christ was alive today, they'd probably call him a communist. Communal living, caring about one another. They'd probably call him a communist if he was alive today, okay? What you're looking at is, you know, people, the way they treat their children. They allow their children to do anything. They can insult people, they can hurt people, they can steal from people, they treat their parents terrible, their teachers terrible. They're brainwashed by all the violence on television. Hey man, if I get smart enough and I can go out and I can rob people and shoot people and sell dope and I can have women and I can do this and I can do that. Live fast, die young, and have a good-looking corpse. We've got a lot of people that think this way. You know, this government, well, they bullshitting. They could stop drugs overnight. They don't want to. It's too big of money. Lawyers are making big money. Everybody's making big money. Psychologists, psychiatrists, and institutions treating these people. Doctors, nurses. The economy, hey, provides lots of jobs. Who are we bullshitting? They can stop drugs overnight. So guess what? We just gave instructions to police officers across the United States. They can now got a permit to kill you right on the street if you're caught with possession of so many ounces or whatever of some type of drug. You're dead right there. You know, take the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all this and, you know, chuck it. Because guess what? We're taking our country back. You see why many parts of the world are very realistic. It's called euthanasia, I believe it's said.
Euthanasia?
Yeah. Certain parts of the country, what Holland put 10,000 people, senior citizens, to sleep last year.
10,000?
10,000 in 1 year. Okay? They've outlived their usefulness. They are now a burden on society. People, the American people, are raised to believe this bullshit. That everything is a happy ending. The Oriental people, the end of their movies, it's a sad ending. They are trained to live more realistic. You study, you're not going to survive. You won't be able to afford to have a wife and children. You won't survive. But in this country, I don't have anything to worry about. They just, where's my next welfare check coming from? You know, who can I steal from? Who can I wheel and deal with? Our way of government, you know, you talk about our way of government is, and every time something happens, you know, it's going to be interesting, okay? Whoever's watching this tape, this happens to be February 14th, February 14th, 1992, Valentine's Day. Oh, by the way, they were police officers, not crime syndicate, dressed as police officers, that machine gun those people in Chicago under the orders of Al Capone. They were police officers. You know why I know? Because I knew one of them when he was an old man. Told me just exactly how it happened and why it happened. Want to know who killed John Kennedy?
Yeah.
You want to know?
Yeah.
It's very easy. I was talking to a guy that was former CIA. He was in the Bay of Pigs. He was held in in Cuba for a couple years after the Bay of Pigs invasion, when Kennedy lost his stomach and backed out and left him to die and be tortured and jailed and everything. I'm not too crazy about Kennedy. I never was, because I can never see what he has done for his country. He died, but he wouldn't have done that intentionally. You know, he was assassinated, but he wouldn't have done that intentionally. Anyhow, the way it goes, it was supposed to be John Kennedy was president, Bobby Kennedy was attorney general, Jimmy Hoffa put him in prison. They put Jimmy Hoffa in prison, president of the AFL-CIO Teamsters, and as a result, he's very closely connected with the crime syndicate, and he was supposed to have had John Kennedy disposed of. All right, now, this is something I heard, you know, probably a year and a half, 2 years after John Kennedy was assassinated. The story was, I heard that they were worried about what the truth of this would do to organized labor in this country. Okay. You see, everything is controlled. Remember what I said about dominating people? We got government control, we got laws. You know, you've got all kinds of laws. Civil law, criminal law, traffic law, religious law. All these are laws to control and dominate people. And like I said, this world is under control by domination. It has nothing to do with lame brain Freud had to say about everything's motivated by sex. Maybe in his life it was. And maybe people who want to believe in him. But this is, all the different areas of this. The domination and control of everything. Oh, by the way, it's going to be very interesting in case anybody's watching this movie. This tape or whatever, movie. It's going to be very interesting to hear what happens to Tyson, the boxer. Okay?
He was convicted, Mike
Tyson, right. He was convicted in the state of Indiana. But guess what? Have you heard the latest?
What's that?
I can't think. I've got memory loss since I had that last accident and snapped my neck a year ago. I got momentary memory loss.
That promoter?
No. The, Jeanette? Bobby Allen? What's that one's name that's real rich in New York? It's going to help Tyson? Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Trump has now intervened. Now, you got to follow this.
Yeah.
Trump could not intervene before the trial because they could arrest him for bribery or whatever, okay? Before the trial. But now the trial's over. Now guess what? He's now intervening before the sentencing. Now he's offering to pay off the state of Indiana by having Tyson box and a big percentage of the gate money go to the state of Indiana to help with their program on rape victims. Okay? Now listen to this. And also they have gotten to one of the judges, because he was supposed to have been sentenced a day or two ago, yesterday I think. No? When? A couple days ago?
No, he was supposed to have been sentenced on the 6th of March.
Oh, the 6th of March, and now it's set up? No, now it's set up till when? Not yet. It's set up till when? 27th or so? He got a continuance
shut it off?
on his
No,
sentencing.
it's on.
He
You're
got
on video. You wanna come say hi?
Okay.
She's shot.
Okay. Are you following all this?
Yep.
Now he got a continuance on his sentencing. And just like um, one of the Kennedys is one that they had the big... well,
William?
Huh?
William.
Yeah, William, what's his name?
William Kennedy Jr.
No, not William Kennedy. The one that was tried for rape.
That's William.
Was that William?
Mhm.
That wasn't a Kennedy law.
Okay, thank
The
you.
one that was tried for rape?
Yeah.
Yeah, William
He was
Kennedy.
related to the Kennedys, but he wasn't...
His last name was Kennedy, too.
Was he, what was his name? The one that was tried for rape.
Smith.
Huh? Smith.
Willie Smith?
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't his name
No,
Kennedy?
his last name was not Kennedy. It was
William Smith?
William Smith, okay.
Oh, okay.
Now, guess what? He beat that charge.
Yeah.
Cost him $1 million in legal fees.
Mhm.
How many poor suckers are sitting in jails all over this world because they don't have $1 million to
Right,
hire
right.
good attorneys?
Right.
That just, you know, it doesn't take a genius to understand all the different standards there are in our life.
Mhm.
And as a result, there is a very thin line between genius and stupidity.
Mhm.
And I believe that people have been walking this line so long that the uneducated people in this world are starting to see why is the other guy is not killing himself and he's getting a paycheck.
Mhm.
It's like the student. You know, when you go and apply for a job, they say, do you have a high school education? Say yes. Wonderful, you're hired. They don't ask what your grades were. They want to know, did you finish high school?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Alright.
Okay? Also,
I got
okay,
this last question here. How do you feel about Bobby and Alan taking over the business and you having more time to do some hobbies or time to do stuff you want?
well, in my entire life, I've really never found time to do what I want. In my lifetime, I don't believe that I'll ever have any, I don't plan on going on any vacations or retiring. I think if I was turned into a paraplegic and I couldn't move out of a wheelchair, if I could run my mouth, I'd probably be talking over a telephone trying to sell something or doing something trying to make money, because I'm not only concerned about my wife and her future, because my mother is spending $2,000 a month in a nursing home right now,
Yeah.
plus medicine, which is insanity. You know, our government and our systems, let's rip off everybody. You know, our way of life is just such a total pile of crap. It's unbelievable. And yet they continue to let all this stuff go on. But as far as ever retiring or anything, I can never see it, because I will always try to make money. If I do not make money for my wife and myself, and Bobby and Alan, my stepsons, I look at it this way, that one day they will be getting married, they'll be having children, and as long as I live, I want to help them in that direction also. I cannot see where the person says that he retires and he's going to go out and play golf and travel around the world and enjoy life, because this falls back into the same old hypocritical bullshit.
Mhm.
Because he says he cares about his family. If he cares, he just don't give up until they've got it better than he had it. And that's how I look at a lot of things.
Thanks a million, Dave. That was it.
You want me to add one more thing? Jen?
Right here.
Yeah, I'd like to add one more thing. I believe that every single human being,
Alan, Bobby, you're next.
okay, wait a second. I
Okay.
believe that every single human being that works with other human beings, if they work in a courthouse, no, wait a minute. Work in a courthouse, they work in a jail, they work in a prison, there's a police officer. If they're a judge, they're a lawyer, they're a doctor, they're a psychologist, they're a psychiatrist, whatever. Okay? I believe that these people should have to live in this environment that they are sentencing people to. I believe a psychologist, a psychiatrist should have to live with mental institution. I would like them to see how these people are treated. So when they make all these genius decisions that their education is supposed to qualify them to give,
Yeah.
that they have some idea what they're doing to their fellow human being. And the same thing with judges and lawyers. I think they ought to have to spend time in mental institutions or jails or prisons
Taste of
or
their own medicine.
wherever, so they understand what they are doing to people. I don't know if it would have much effect on them, but I think it should be one of the requirements, because our society has very little respect for one another, or each other's lives, or the lives of the people that they are playing with, and their families and their lives. I mean, it's a mess.
The cat wants to say hi.
Yeah.
What's this cat's name?
This is tough.
Tough Tough. Okay. Alan? Alan just went around the corner. Bobby, there's Bobby right
You guys
there.
gonna come out here?
You guys gotta come out and say a few words.
Come on
This is
out.
Bobby Morgan.
Don't act like that, Bobby.
What?
You're on to.
He,
One day you might be on television.
That's right.
As one
Why
of
don't
the
you say a
greatest
few words,
attorneys.
So
Bobby?
what?
About,
What name is it?
about business today. Did you have many jobs?
Tell them how wonderful you think I am. That should really.
Come on, this is your chance for revenge, Bobby.
Now's your chance.
No comment. You got a lot of comments, but you just...
Now I got two of the best kids in the entire world.
All right.
There's no two ways about that. I've raised them hard. I've tried to raise them fair. They know what life is about. They know what money is about. I believe that a big mistake in this country is people don't concentrate on raising their family to be grown-ups.
Mhm.
They raise they're raising people to to become followers and not leaders. Do you understand what I'm saying, Manny?
Yep. Yep.
In other words, the many things that they are teaching in school, they don't teach you how to get a job, they don't teach you how to hold a job, they don't teach you what you're worth, they don't teach you how to go in your own business, they don't teach you so many areas, how to collect money, and when people take it away from you, they don't teach you any of your rights.
Mhm.
In any way whatsoever. It seems like rights. If you got an emotional problem, hey, go see a psychiatrist or psychologist. If you're sick, go see a doctor. Got a legal problem, go see a lawyer. I mean, there's no more. Everything is money involved. Controlling. Domination. That's what it's all about.
Domination.
Who do we dominate? Who do we control? How are we going to do it? You know, all the American companies are sending these places to Mexico, Canada, Taiwan, Japan, cheaper labor. Many of these worlds are slave labor. And at the same time, the American way of life is going to be going down the drain. And they say they don't understand why.
Yeah.
When I grew up, one man worked. His wife took care of the kids. He had a car and a home and a garage. He could go out once a week for steak with his family. He could go away for 2-3 week vacation every year. He had money in the bank. He could pay his doctor bills. He wasn't buried in debt. But we got a percentage of the people on this planet that stays awake nights figuring how we can take more money away from people that don't have it.
Yep.
This country is being destroyed by credit. They want to give everybody credit. High interest rates, they can't pay their bills.
And then people just go under.
Well, some people plan on filing bankruptcy. Years ago, you filed bankruptcy, your credit was excellent afterwards. Today, you file bankruptcy and they treat you terrible. You're looking at 70 years or more, you don't have no credit. You know, they talk, people talk. And it's just,
That was tough again.
But anyhow,
I want to zero in on that
in case these people are interested,
Okay, there's that look.
well, look,
Right there. Take a look on your psychologist.
in case these people are interested, this is just their first seminar, first lecture on reality.
Volume 1, Reality.
Volume 1, Part 1, Reality.
Philosophy 101. Thanks,
Big
man.
thing is, one more thing.
What's that?
There's an old saying, be true to yourself. And most people aren't. They're living in this daydream world that they're going to be able to do as little work and have as much enjoyment as they possibly can squeeze into a lifetime.